and that was Telluride Truffle's Alpenglow. You can find that in the 14er pack. But here to talk a little bit more with us about the 14er and about Telluride Truffle and about all things chocolate is Miss Patty Denny.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
I should say you are the Telluride Truffler, or you are the driving force behind all of this kind of thing and the truffles and all that. And so we're going to talk about it. But before we begin with what we like to begin with, rather, is your own Telluride story. So before we get into the truffles, tell me, how did you get here?
How did I get here? Well, I moved here from New York City. I was an actress for about 10 years in New York, and just kind of started to feel like, as I got older, this might be a tough career. And I also just kind of, I wanted something new, wanted something different. And so I started looking around for, changing my life, making something different. And I had some criteria, and one of which was to move to a community, an educated community. I love the arts, so it needed to be a community full of the arts, etc. And year-round sports, because I love the outdoors.
So Telluride is an obvious fit.
And I found Telluride, and I say I fell in love like you fall in love with a man. I mean, I just fell in love with Telluride.
And when was this, Patty?
That was 24 years ago.
24 years ago.
24.
My gosh, that must have been a different Telluride, huh?
Yeah, it was.
And so you got here, you were here, and then you just decided to get into the chocolate game. I know. Acting is not a gateway drug to the chocolate game. I know this. I mean, I like chocolate, but I know this because I am an actor, of course.
Exactly.
And so explain how did Telluride Truffle come about?
Yeah. So after stopping acting, I said, oh my God, what do I do now? I've wanted to be an actor all my life, since I was like 12. And they said, well, I've always heard that what you like to do when you were really little is what you should do for a living. And I said, well, I had this mud pie kitchen like you wouldn't believe. And I mean, it had different grades of dirt. And if you know anything about being a pastry...
This is spoken like a true artist. You're like, I had a mud pie kitchen, so I just started a chocolate empire.
Yeah, exactly. That's where it started. You asked me where it started.
But how did you learn?
It actually started back then.
It must be a difficult thing, though, to learn how to sort of like become a chocolatier, because your chocolates are very high end.
Well, thank you.
And obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about the 14er pack, which has a whole bunch of lovely alcohol mixtures in there as well.
Yes.
But the preservation of those things, it's a perishable food to some end. And of course, the more you have it out there and the more you package it and those kind of things, the more you have to sell it in a certain amount of time. So how did you figure all that out?
Well, I decided that I wanted to become a pastry chef. So I came up here, got a job at the Peaks, entry-level pastry. And in that year and a half, those chefs in that kitchen 24 years ago taught me a lot. And one of the things that we did were truffles. They weren't done well, no offense, but the kitchen was too hot to do chocolate properly. Okay. But after I left that job, they were kind of like a really easy thing to take to potlucks. So I would. And people were just crazy about them.
Nice.
And at one point, somebody said, you should do this. You should do this for a business. And I thought that was hilarious because I lived in New York City. I tasted some of the best chocolate.
Yeah.
And then really more people started saying it. And so I thought I'd give it a shot. And you know what? I just started playing around with chocolate and reading cookbooks, and step by step, it just started working, and it kept working. And now here we are.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know you haven't tasted these truffles, but this woman is no slouch. It's not like it does. It sounds like you're like, it's an amazing thing, I think, sometimes to hear stories like this because again, you had one career, you transitioned to another one, and you do it at a very high level. Obviously, we're in a small town, but we like to think there's a lot of people here operating at a very high level with their particular business and building it sort of up from the ground, and it's amazing. You just read cookbooks and you figured it out. Let me bring this in now. Hold on one second.
Okay.
This is the thing that we just keep talking about, that you keep seeing segments on, the Telluride 14er. This is like an entire arm of chocolate here, and if I were to open this up, you would see each individual truffles, which are like almost like 2-3 bite truffles. They're so big.
That's true.
But talk to me about this. How do we get here with the chocolate?
With the chocolate, from where we, and the thing that I want to also, when you say that Telluride Truffle is in Telluride, but We do quite a bit of business outside of Telluride.
Okay.
I have a website, TellurideTruffle.com, and we ship quite a bit.
Yeah.
In fact, probably 700, 800 shipments at Christmas.
Amazing.
And a lot of those have never been to Telluride, don't know about Telluride. So the chocolate is, I'm kind of amazed at that. The chocolate is standing
Well,
on its
Telluride is
own
now
nationally.
becoming a name.
I
mean,
know.
They have things. They have like Telluride is printed on shirts in Target.
Oh,
Isn't
wow.
that crazy? Yeah, and it's all false. It's all like the Telluride Tigers, that kind of
Oh,
thing.
really?
Like, yeah, but like it's becoming a name for people. But so you're selling this all over the place. But tell me about this right here. Tell me about the arm length of chocolate that I have. In
That
my
you
hand.
have. Okay, so what happened about 4 years in, my truffles used to be round little balls, like you see truffles a lot nationally. And then what started to happen was I'd go to restaurants and they had truffles, my same flavors, and they looked like mine because they were balls. Restaurants here in town. So I went, okay, I better get a little bit more savvy about this. And so I created this mold, this triangular mold. They're all in triangles so that they look like, hence the box, so that they kind of represent the mountains. And so after that, I just kind of thought, now if they copy me, it's going to be pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how the triangle came about.
Nice.
And then we started with a little 3-pack and a 7-pack, and then we went to a 14er, and I didn't know what to do, so we just made it longer.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of funny, but also kind of beautiful.
It is. It's
Yeah.
kind of funny, kind of beautiful, and very, very tasty. You're going to see a whole bunch of these. Telluride Truffle is sponsoring and has some really great segments. We have some really great segments throughout the show. On this show, we're going to see the Alpenglow, and actually, after we're done, you're going to see the Powder Day, which is another one. So just tell me, which one of these is your favorite? Is that a fair question? Can you tell me?
I can't, because it's like they're my kids,
Yeah.
which one. And literally, I'm not just feigning that. I start to love one of them, and then I get tired of that one and go to another.
Yeah.
People ask me all the time, do you still eat these after 20 years? I'm like, yes, I still eat them.
Yes.
And when I eat them, I just still go, oh, these are good. I
Patty,
still think they're really
What's
good.
the Grand Marnier one called? What's the Grand
The
Marnier?
Grand Marnier is called Spiral.
The Spiral. That's mine, baby. Thank you very much,
Thank
Miss
you,
Denny, for
Colin.
being with us.
Thank
And we didn't mention this. You do have that website, but also, if you're in Telluride, you can go right on First Street, and you guys have a retail store there.
We do, a beautiful little retail store that's just fun to go into, because we do chocolate tastings. We talk to you about chocolate. It's a lot more than a store. It's kind of an experience, and I hope you have a lot of fun there.
Well, thanks a lot, Patty. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Let's head over and actually see a little bit more about that Powder Day truffle. And then after that, we're going to work off some of those calories that we got from eating this entire 14er with Becca and Ryan in the new segment, Fuel Up.